Today it's a very special day for us, for Lars and me, because we are kind of spending the last week here in Caminul Felix family village in Saint Andre, and also in the village in San Martin. Because next week we are moving back to Sweden, I would say, after many years in Romania. But of course, Romania will always have a big place in our hearts, and we don't leave the children or the families. We take them with us to Sweden. And it's quite hard for us to say farewell to everybody, but I think, Lars, you should tell how it really started. Why did Caminul Felix started? What has been the engine behind it?
Yeah, it's truly a joy to be here and to remember what has happened through all these years. They have been good. They have been tough. And we have in everything seen the leading of God, as we would call it. God has been there to sustain and to help, to take the decision we have needed. And we have been a big team that have worked together. Well, 1990, we moved here. My wife at that time was Lisa Hörnberg, and she died later to cancer. But we came together here and we lived in a fine apartment, and we moved from there to our house, and we moved from there to another house. And that was a time when she was taken home to the Lord. Those were tough days, I must say. I was alone, and we had come here because Linda had had such great connections with the country and with pastors in the country. Ever since 1985, we had been ongoingly visiting churches in the country. And when the revolution struck and it was possible for us to come in to settle here, we found that there were so many children on the streets. We found them in the hundreds here in Radia and other places too that we visited. We saw that they had no way to go. And we decided with those that we had around us, we were two foreigners, and it was not easy to try to understand everything that was happening here, everything that had been left behind when the revolution was going through the nation. But we did our best. We had an apartment in town, and there we received 12 children, beautiful children. They came from the streets. They had really no behavior, but they were absolutely the most beautiful personalities to meet and to spend time with. That was the way it started. From that apartment with 12 of them, after just half a year, or maybe it was 1 year, we started planning to build this in what we sit right now, the villages of Caminul family villages. And there are 2 of those in Romania today. This has been our home. We have not lived here in the village, but we have lived in town, and we have structured everything the best we could so that national moms and dads took care of their own children, about 12 to 14 children, and became the new nuclear family for these children that created confidence and safety to them. That is the way it started. Mm-hmm. You had come then too, hadn't you?
Yeah, so I was working back in Sweden, and Lars, he was talking about Linda, and we were friends for many years before that. And Lars was my pastor in Sweden. So when they moved to Romania, he sent me a fax, it was no emails during this time, and asked me, please come and join the team in Romania. So I came here the 1st of April 94, and I told the church in Sweden that I will stay for 1 year, and then I will come back home again. But I never came home. Here has been my home.
This is home, yeah.
Like Lars said, it has been many, many, many good days. And we have seen so many miracles and wonders, in the families and with the children. And of course, it has been some days of struggling, of course, but it has been the most rewarded times in my life. And also, since Lars and me got married, it was even easier to continue to work. And like we say, we are not leaving our calling to serve God because we move back to Sweden. We will continue to serve Him. But now we find that now is the time for us to go. And the decision is not just made like a couple of weeks ago or because of the COVID-19 that came. But we have been talking back and forth. Maybe it's time for us to move back to Sweden because we are getting old, even if we look young and we act young, at least Lars. So we feel that it's time, and we hope and we are planning to be able to serve even Caminul Felix villages from Sweden in the future. But we are so thankful for all those years and all the friends. Oh, we will miss them a lot.
I have to say that we got married 8 years ago now. I don't know what year it was. It's difficult to remember those things. But Lisa stayed here. She gave structure to many people's lives, and especially to young people in sunflower design. And it just developed after 10 years that became lonesome years for me since I had become a widower. We got married and we had the finest of weddings in Sweden, in Jättened. Sweden is fantastic, and I tell you, now spring is coming there. And just outside our city of that time we lived in Sweden before we moved here is a little place called Jättened. There we have friends. And that was the place where Pastor Thomas Henning married us. And that was a lovely time. Ever since then, we have lived in our house here in Romania, and we have enjoyed every minute. I would say this is the best time of my life. This is a time that has given something to me that I didn't have before. I saw what it meant to be a missionary. It is not to come down to a place to become the man of leadership. It is to be there as a support. It is to be there as a man that gives what he can, or a woman that gives what she can. And that's the way we have worked. So the whole leadership of Caminul Felix, 3 villages in Oradea, the whole leadership is national. And that is an incredible joy. It is okay to try to be a Swede and try to lead a work that interferes so much with the situation in a new country. It is impossible to do it right. So now the leaders of Caminul Felix are national leaders. We have also seen a village develop in Thailand. You have to mention that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will do that. I just want to say first that, all our parents in the Felix families here in Romania has been, and they are just amazing. And we have had so many visitors. I'm sure thousands has come here during the years, and they are just amazed how they keep the families together. And we know that it's a calling for God to be a house parent, to be here with the children day and night and take them into their hearts. So it started after the tsunami in Thailand. I will just speak very shortly about that. When we saw on TV what was happening in Thailand, and with this big tsunami, they came in and thousands of people died. They lost their lives there. So then some of our friends here in Romania, they came and said, let's do something. Let's do something for the children in Thailand. And it led into that we started to build a family village in the south of Thailand, in a town or city that is called Suratani. And today we have 10 homes, 10 families, wonderful parents, also called by God to be parents. And in Thailand, it's just 10%, no less, 3% are evangelical Christians. So when we started to plan and build, we had a couple here from Caminul, Romania, Ali and Marcel Philip with us, and they were sharing how it was to become parents in a village with a lot of children. And from there it started. And so today we have around 70 children in the homes. And I'm so blessed with is that many of our young people that has been brought up in Caminul Felix, they say, we have been supported and we had got a new life. Now we have a job. Now we can support a child in the Felix village in Thailand. And they are so proud to be sponsored to give a child in Thailand a new life. So we have a village in Thailand also. And what's fantastic is when I come there, because I have the privilege to be one leading the job there, they don't have the Swedish flag up for me. They have the Romanian flag. It's up there in the south of Thailand all the time when I come. So Romania have reached out to the Asia with the gospel.
So now, after 30 years, a little bit more, we're ready to go home. And we do it just because we believe this is a time for us to do it. It will be good for us. It will be good for the years that remain. And for us, that is. And it will also be the right thing for the families here in Romania and the leadership of the ministry that we have belonged to and still belong to. And we have loved it. We thank God for it. We thank you for it. We thank all the sponsors that have come in with such a force. During the pandemic now, there has been a special need since we have not been able to visit churches. But with you, we have been in contact every week. We have seen your letters and we thank God for them. And we have seen your generosity and they have given life and structure and strength to the ministry where we have been, where we have worked, and where now Romanian fantastic leaders are taking over, building up, developing it to become a strong pattern to follow in the nation. Thank you, everybody. Go with us now when we go to Sweden and give us a call. See us on Facebook and we will be glad to develop a good support for one another. God bless you.
God bless you.
Este un moment special în viața Caminului Felix. Un moment care am crezut că nu va veni niciodată și nu l-am așteptat. Ziua în care trebuie să le spunem la revedere la Lars și la Lisa. Au fost oameni iubiți de Camin pentru că au fost fondatorii și doar vrem să le mulțumim pentru tot ce au făcut și au investit în decursul celor 30 de ani de activitate. Așa cum se spune, numai când pierzi pe cineva sau un lucru îți dai seama mai bine de valoarea lui. Chiar dacă ne despărțim doar fizic, plecarea voastră este o pierdere pentru Caminul Felix, pentru Oradea și pentru România. Am crezut că vă ținem aici pentru totdeauna, în țara noastră frumoasă, dar înțelegem perfect că a venit momentul ca să plecați înapoi, în Suedia. Încă o dată suntem mulțumitori lui Dumnezeu pentru voi, pentru tot ce ați făcut și ne rugăm ca El să vă binecuvinteze în continuare pe voi acolo și pe noi aici.